Hey guys, welcome to the fourth kind of solo podcast that I've been doing. And I'm going to keep doing these guys until I run out of ideas. So I want to thank you for listening or watching. I appreciate that. Also, if you like the show, guys, if you like the Total Hockey Training podcast, please like and share it. I don't really get any financial benefit of doing this, but I like putting myself on the camera and putting myself out there and hopefully educating. And so if you like it, let me know. If you have any ideas of topics you want me to discuss, or maybe there's a guest that you'd love to have me have on, that'd be awesome. Just let me know. Also, Total Hockey Training, we're in our postseason phase, 3 days per week. Okay. You can sign up for it, train heroic. And then the school games community is growing. We're about over 80 people now, and just yeah, it's been a lot of fun putting content in there, and I'm looking forward to growing this. And so you can check it out in the caption below. Also, I hope you enjoyed the last episode of the Total Hockey Training Podcast with my son. Again, it was something I was hesitant on doing, but a lot of people said, hey, you should have Will come on. And people would like to hear kind of his background and how he grew up. And so if you want to check it out, it's the last episode of the Total Hockey Training Podcast. So what I want to talk about today, program individualization, if that is a word. I'll be honest, when I first started working in the National Hockey League, teams, they had one strength coach. And I remember my weight room in Anaheim at the practice facility was okay. At the arena, it wasn't too good. And so I'm talking about individualizing programs for specific people and what they do. At that time now, it was very difficult to individualize programs for athletes. You had 24, 25 players on a team, and you had small windows in the schedule of when you could train. And so a lot of times it was, say it's during training camp, you might have 30 minutes with the team in the weight room. And so to me, especially back in 2002, we were going to do what I felt was best for the team. It was the bang for your buck exercises to try to get stronger or maintain the strength that they gained in the off season. And I'm a big believer in doing things, exercises that involve multiple joints, multiple muscles, because I think you can do exercises like that in a short amount of time and get your most bang for your buck, if that makes sense. And so it was difficult as being the only strength coach on the team, and you had 20 something guys, and they always wanted to work out at the same time. There was no individual training sessions. Guys, they wanted to come to the rink, get their preparation in, go to practice, and go home. And so, you couldn't have 25 individual programs. It just didn't work, especially in that environment. However, and I still, even like years later, it was still kind of the same concept. And what I realized was that we could get the individual work done, say on practice days or on game days, even. It was the more of the corrective exercise, prehabilitation, rehabilitation exercises. Maybe they've sustained a previous injury before, and we wanted to address that moving forward on a daily basis. And so that's how I always individualize things. I always had our team program, and then we would branch off of that, whatever that individual needs to do when he's not doing the team training program. Now, I want to talk about the team training program because I always thought that athletes sometimes they most of the time they need to do the same things. So if we're doing an in-season lift, and say we're doing dumbbell split squats, because I would always look at dumbbell split squats earlier in the week, and I'd say, okay, we're not going to cause enough muscle soreness in our legs when we have a game in 2 nights. I would do it early in the week when we had a game in 3 or 4 nights later. And so I'd always say to myself, okay, why should player A be doing dumbbell split squats, but player B doesn't need to? And I'd always question myself. Now, were there situations where player B might be like, hey, I'd rather do one leg squats, or I'd rather do dumbbell riff or elevated split squats? Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's okay. But there's a difference between that and, yeah, my trainer in the off season doesn't want me to do these. I don't need to get my legs stronger during the year. I don't need that exercise because I don't have any knee problems, etc. Things like that. So I never really could understand. And sometimes it was the maybe the lazier person who maybe voiced his opinion that, hey, why are we all doing the same stuff? And it's like, well, a lot of times it was, well, because I want you to do it. A lot of times I would base my program around the best players and want them to do it. And to me, as a veteran player, for example, you want to make sure that guy is doing what you would like him to do, because then it's easier for the younger players to jump in. Another thing too, during the season, especially in the NHL season, no, like there was a lot of players and situations where you have to look at the amount of ice time that they get. And so, for example, top end forwards are probably getting, I remember back in the day, like 25 minutes a night, which is a lot when you're penalty killing power play playing 5-on-5. And then defensemen as well would see sometimes 25 to 30 minutes a night. And so, yeah, those guys, they got individualized attention. It was more looking at the game sheet after the game and seeing what kind of game they had and blah blah blah, and then making individualized modifications on their work. And so, what does that mean for the guys who are playing less than 10 minutes? Those guys had to do, I would always say, you got to do the full workout, and then you got to do some conditioning on the assault bike. And what I found is that usually those guys are consistent throughout the season. It's determined by their place in the lineup, their salary, whatever it is. And those guys, it doesn't mean every game that they're crushing out assault bike rides. A lot of times they're getting skated on the ice as well to make up for the time they're not getting in the game. So now what does that lead me to now? In the private sector, we have groups of athletes, and I believe in the fact that we're going to do what everyone else is doing in the private sector. And here's why: because we're all athletes, we all sprint, we all jump, we all have to exhibit strength, whatever it is in our sport. And so, like for me, I was telling someone the other day, who a soccer player coming in to train with us, and the mom and dad were asking, well, you just train hockey players. I'm like, you know what? If I didn't work in the NHL for so long, if I didn't work with college hockey teams, I could still train any other athlete. And it just happens that the program I'm designing now is affecting hockey players. And so, does that mean a soccer player can do it? Absolutely. What we're doing, we're not doing anything, quote, hockey specific, where we can have multiple athletes, such as soccer players and baseball players and football players, in our sports performance program. And so, yeah, I think athletes, especially during the season, they need to continue to get stronger, continue to do the things that can help them prevent injuries from happening, and being a robust athlete. And so, I guess the point of this is that, like, I like to have group training programs, and especially at the younger age, like if you're a 15-year-old kid and someone's telling you, oh, you need to do this program that's specific to you, maybe 5 or 6 years from now. But I think when you're 14, 15 years old, you should be in the gym in a group environment, trying to get stronger, trying to get faster, and a lot of times doing the same things that other kids are doing. And so, are there individual modifications that I make in our program? Yes, there are. If so, certain person, there's the word lateralizations and regressions that have to take place. For example, if someone can't do a one leg squat on the box, then we might be doing dumbbell rear foot elevated split squats for that chosen athlete. At the same time, trying to work up to the being able to do a one leg squat. So, anyways, I hope this makes sense. So, I think to me, program individualization, yeah, I think when you get older, if you're a professional hockey player and you want that one on one attention to make specific changes to your body type, absolutely. But I think the younger athletes can all benefit from doing the same things. It's bang for your buck exercises, keeping it simple, and having the environment a positive, be a positive part of that process as well. It's the motivation from the coaches, it's the motivation from the other athletes in the session, it's the competition. We all know that that comes about. And so, yeah, yeah. And so it's that's what my take on kind of program individualization, if I'm going to say that right. Make individual changes as needed, but sometimes keeping the basic program can go a long way. So, anyways, I hope that helps, and we'll see you next time. And thanks a lot. Bye.